Recording. So, we're doing AMA today. This is Saturday. Just a reminder, Sunday noon to 3. Doing AMA and Discord and stuff like that. We do another session with news on Wednesday nights at 9. So, what do I think about the CKNA exam? So, first of all, what is the CKA exam? So, the CKA exam is the Kubernetes cloud. Some people put a dash, some people don't. Cloud native associate. And I really love this actually because I like that they picked the word associate. And this certificate just got announced last week at KubeCon, as far as I know. I mean, that's when the news hit anyway. And the kind of the fun thing is I was already thinking about it. I actually named the open credential for a beginner in technology associate, and then this thing came out like literally it's like 3 days after that. I changed the name from technologist to associate. So the associate, what does associate mean? First of all, the term associate in technology generally means that you're entry level. It's a nice word for junior. It means that you can talk about it on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being you can give conferences and you're supreme leader, master on it, and 1 being you're conversant in the topic. 1 is kind of where you are. So first of all, what is it? And I went up to the curriculum. You can go to the curriculum. I don't know if I remember where it is. It's on GitHub. We could probably just open it up on GitHub. Yeah. It's listed from the CKA exam, but it's not particularly obvious to find. So let's go find it. I'll find it for you. So you can put it under related. So cloud, let's see, CKAD curriculum and the CKA. So the CK, oh God. Oh my God. No, that's just no. Kubernetes. Okay, there's like lots of acronyms, I guess. There we go. Certified Kubernetes application developer. So there's the Linux Foundation is the parent company, the parent organization of the Cloud Native Foundation. And Linux Foundation infrastructure is the same thing they've been doing for their certificates, which are usually labs. So I think probably the biggest thing to take away from this, and I'm just going to jump right in, is that this is a multiple choice certificate exam. Okay, that's a big deal. Okay, I mean, we just put a multiple choice, multiple guess, multiple choice, whatever. So this is not targeted at engineers. Targeted for everyone to get a feel for cloud native, right? Or for Kubernetes. So it's kind of like the overview thing. It's like, this is what this is, it's terms and stuff. It is the entry-level certificate, considered now the entry-level certificate for that. So it gets still plan on CKAD. Is CK? Is that right? The CKAD, the CKA, and the what is it? Oh, CKS, the security one. Okay, so if engineer. So that's it. I mean, I read about it. So, but I'm trying to find you the curriculum stuff here. So here we go. The CKAD. I don't think it's even listed here yet on the actual site. See, here we go. Kubernetes training partners, the CKA, the CKAD. Oh, they added it. Okay, the CKS, there it is. Let's go find it. That's cool. Let me add that. Go to top chevron. No, that's not what I want. Why would I do that? This site is just not good. I don't like sites that are not text-based friendly. All right, here we go. So, but this is actually the one, so I gotta do the document here. All right, give me a sec. You know what? All right, wait. Related. I'm gonna give you the link in the show notes here. That's what this is. So, oopsie. Links. I'll add the thing. Poor 4 titles. They didn't title their document right. They have a problem. They got so many problems over there. What are you gonna do? All right, so I'm gonna list this here. Go there and read it. Let's go read it ourselves. But it's gonna say the same thing. Kubernetes Cloud Native Associates demonstrates users foundational knowledge and skills of Kubernetes. That means you know what a pod is, right? You know what Kubernetes does. You know what container orchestration means, that kind of thing. The KCNA is a pre-professional certification, so it's pre-professional. That means you're not going to get a job with the KCNA. It's going to help you understand Kubernetes. So it's one of those things that I think everybody should get in tech. Period. I don't know if it's worth the money though. I honestly don't. It's like $300-400 still. Designed for candidates interested in advancing to their professional level through a demonstrated understanding of Kubernetes foundational knowledge and skills. The certification is ideal for students learning about candidates interested in working in cloud native technologies. It's kind of help you make the decision if you want to do it. A certified CKAD will confirm conceptual knowledge. This is really key of the entire cloud native ecosystem. Now, let me help you understand that for a second. This is the cloud native ecosystem. Okay? This is why they needed a certificate on this. This is it. This has become a meme all by itself. This is all the stuff that you need to kind of keep tabs on if you're going to be following cloud native. And that's not even all of it. I mean, you have the platforms over here. The serverless will just ignore and pretend it doesn't exist. Observability analysis got its own section. Prometheus, Thanos. I mean, and if you think you don't have to know these things, you're kidding yourself if you're going to be into the administration. So if you're going to have to not only know Kubernetes, you have to know all the stuff that uses Kubernetes and how it deploys to Kubernetes in the infrastructure. And you're going to have to be able to like weigh in on whether you should use that or not and which one is better than the other, et cetera, et cetera. What's this one? Build packs? Oh, I haven't seen that before. So I'm talking about. You got to be able to keep up on this. So this is the landscape. This is literally landscape.cncf.io. Okay. And yeah, we'll go away from that. We'll leave that for now. I don't want to scare people too much. So being able to kind of talk yourself through those, I imagine that's what it is. I haven't taken it. It just got announced. Will I be getting it? No, I don't. No, I have no interest in getting this certificate at all. Some people probably will, but I won't. I have no interest at all. I have zero interest in getting it because the content I can do on my own through web. I can do my own. I can definitely learn about this whole thing through other means. Now, honestly, I'm going to say something critical about the Cloud Native Foundation right now. If they put half as much time into actually cleaning up the Kubernetes IO site and making a consumable resource for people to understand this infrastructure instead of making a certificate for it, we would all be better off. But instead, what we got was yet another certificate that costs $250 that's going to help you understand the stuff that should be on the documentation page, in my opinion. So I'm sorry if that sounds too critical. I love the people in the Cloud Native Foundation. They're doing great things. But the Kubernetes.io site is a disaster right now. It has no formal organization. There is no structured thing that takes you through setting up a Kubernetes cluster from beginning to end at all. They have like little pieces. They're disjointed. They're all over the place. They're incomplete. They're out of date. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. And the fact that we have KubeCon conferences and we have certifications get announced and stuff like that, and yet we still don't have a basic beginning to end overview of what Kubernetes is that's consumable without going and having and updated and maintained by the Cloud Native Foundation themselves is kind of sad. So and that's going to sound really critical, but I'm sorry. I've been going through this for the last months, and I've gone through the tutorials, I've gone through all the different things. And so the reason that they think they need a certificate is because people can't make sense of it because it's too complicated. People are throwing Cloud Native and Kubernetes under the bus right now because it's so complicated, and it's complicated for all the right reasons. So I think I feel like probably in response to it's too complicated. I mean, we're seeing this all over the news. Go watch the news from last week. We see Wall Street Journal posting that the cloud is the greatest shortage of professionals in history for a specific technology is happening right now. It's reported by the Wall Street Journal because we can't get any cloud people. Amazon says all of our stuff is free. Go learn about it. And this has been in the works for a while, but this is, I think, I don't know, but I believe that this is in response up to it's too complicated. And so companies, there was another article, again, go back and watch the news video, where they're not even, people are choosing to not even go with cloud because of it. And the companies, the big companies that are making money on this are saying, hey, come to us. We have lots of money. Come pay us for it. It's not the cert's not gonna make it less complicated. No, that's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is that the cert is to help people see that Kubernetes isn't that complicated as long as you understand it. I don't know. I haven't seen it. The fact that it's a multiple choice exam makes me immediately dismiss it out of hand. I have no interest in any multiple choice certification of any kind. Now, I've recommended A+ to people. That's how they get their start a lot of times because HR wants it. Having this is definitely going to be a positive thing. It can't hurt to have it. I would consider getting it if, I don't think it's worth $250. I don't. I think it's more valuable to you to read about it and to read the pros and cons of Kubernetes and infrastructure in general, to understand where Nomad is in the comparison, because people are, still looking at Nomad versus Kubernetes. I mean, if you want an overview of what's going on in the cloud native world, you might want to do that. I don't even know that this is Kubernetes only. I actually don't know anything. So let's go back and finish reading the thing before I tank on it. So we'll cover a few. You see, this idea that your company will cover the $250 certification for you really rubs me the wrong way. If you're creating content that's only for people that work in an enterprise that's paying for your costs, and you could have used that effort to make something publicly available to everyone, to clarify it for everyone, whether or not they have $250 from their company to pay, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm just going to tell you right now, this is a good example of why I'm against certificates. For most reasons, I'm getting one, obviously. But sometimes I really hate the whole certificate ecosystem thing because it self-perpetuates. I had a glowing email of praise come from somebody in the Philippines who has been going through the beginner boost videos and said, I hope you changed my stars, like 2 page of like thanks. And I'm not flexing here or anything. I'm just saying, because why? Because it was freely available. They could go out there and they could get the content. If people who have money, companies who have money, why don't the companies sponsor Cloud Native to make a resource and pay them directly through GitHub or whatever and say, hey, we need this resource here, these companies. We rather than pay for our people to get the certification, we're going to pay you, Cloud Native Foundation, and we're going to sponsor a free certification or better content that's available to everyone. The problem right now is that certificates continue to be this exclusionary thing that keeps people from doing it. And so my complaint is with certificates in general, and this is just one of those multiple choice certificates that you could learn everything online, right? If you could find all this stuff online. So look, I'm not against it. I'm just not going to get it. So if you get it, that's fine. I know it's not going to work against you. It will demonstrate their basic knowledge of Kubernetes and cloud native technologies. Yeah, this including how to deploy applications using basic kubectl commands, the architecture of Kubernetes pods. So just to give you an example of why I'm going to complain about this, if you go to kubernetes.io and you go to the control plane components page and you open up the diagram there, it has no indication that there is a container runtime required on the endpoints at all. It says it needs a kubelet and it needs all this other stuff. That's just one tiny critique to make the point that rather than spending money on certifications, why don't we spend our money and effort on improving the resources that are available for everyone and dedicate? And I say, well, I can tell them already, they're going to be like, oh, that's a different team. Somebody else manages that. The certifications have nothing to do with the documentation. It's not like you can just like move the money and effort over to the other thing. That's not how the Cloud Native Foundation works. That's fine. I don't care. I'm a consumer and I'm helping people try to learn this. I have a recruiter who contacts me every 3 weeks saying, do you have people who know cloud? Because I have jobs for them and nobody can learn it fast enough because so I have a feeling that they're trying to address the need. I think their desires are in the right place. I just think they keep missing the boat. They keep and they keep letting training providers provide it that are it's just too enterprisey. It's too enterprisey. Why and from the beginning it's been enterprisey, and you know how I feel about that stuff. I have no problem with it being in the enterprise, but if you and by the way, the big companies really don't care. Why don't they care? So Amazon, Azure, AWS, Google, they don't care. They don't care because they want it to be complicated because they want you to go to them and use their tool in the cloud. They want you to go to the cloud and they want you to pay your $5 a day just to do the tutorial that Kelsey Hightower wrote, just so and get locked into G Cloud using all the containers. So they'll write great tutorials about how to use their system. But the whole point of the Cloud Native Foundation is not to be, it's not to be pushing people toward any particular, vendor provider or something like that. And so they put this big barrier up and they say, well, your company will pay for it if you really care. I don't like that. I don't like it, and I'm not being critical of any person. I don't like the approach. It's too much of what's wrong with the world. Is that, I just wish that effort and energy were put forward to clear up the stuff that was out there already and help other people get it. This is to me, this is the reason I invented the open credential. I'm going to push my agenda here. The open credential merit system. And I wish a system like this would get the attention of people like Cloud Native, because we need to start creating open credential systems and providing input into the Linux Foundation, not Linux Foundation, the LPIC. For a long time, they were doing this. It was a group of professionals in the Linux community that came together and were maintaining a credential of their own. And then they had an organization that somebody paid to go, at some point you have to pay if you're going to take a test. I believe we could actually get out of that. If you want to learn more about my ideas on Occam, the Occam's credentials, Occam's badges, you can read my Zettelcast and I'll make another video on it. But the point of it is we need to create systems that are open and that are free and that people can make money with by providing themselves as mentors or as platforms where on this stuff can be addressed. We don't want to make some like pandering site. Let me show you the Kubernetes. Have you seen this? I got to show you this. So we opened a ticket on this. This isn't just me complaining. I've actually opened tickets on this. So register, cost for free, Kubernetes fundamentals. Oh, this is a free one? This is new. Great. This is good. Insert to Kubernetes is free. This is I don't remember if that was free before, but that's really good. But this one is $300. So I'm trying to find. They have a GitHub listing of curriculum. I want to show you. So, and I'm trying to find it here for you. I think it's listed from the CKAD. We'll go find it. A free test to outline the knowledge someone needs to know would be great. A merit badge, right? Just a list. Just list all of the stuff, not just the highlights, but list the break. And by the way, they are on the right path. They are on the right path. I'm going to show you, but it's not enough. I'm going to say something positive. Okay. It's really hard to find though. So there it is. So here's the link. github.com CNCF curriculum. All right. I'll copy this link, put it in the show notes right now for you. Okay. So you can have it. I know this is a long video, but so yeah. What? Oh, I did the wrong paste. Okie dokie. So I actually opened a ticket on this. Not to be a dick. I mean, I honestly, I opened a ticket on this because I was like, really? Because watch. All right. So here it is. Badge, no cap, no deal. Yeah. Oh, we could do. I changed the name of it to Credentials. By the way, I've put that up a little bit. If you want to read about it, if you want to help me, I've been building a diagram of the credentials that I think we need, and then we need to have these badges or these credentials fleshed out with an outline. And I've written the specification for how to write them and what the YAML fields are and stuff like that. If you're interested in that, let me know. Okay, so So this is the CNCF curriculum. Hey, when I came here, like some time ago, I think where's the issue? I think my issue is still open. Um, uh, yeah, there we go. Oh no, I think I just liked the other one. This isn't a curriculum, it's an outline brochure, right? So first of all, it's the word curriculum, right? Curriculum generally means all the stuff in it and everything. I think they probably are struggling with what to call it. Everybody is, by the way. So here they put some stuff up here, but what I want to show you, so like, oh great, here's the curriculum. The curriculum's all available for free online. In fact, that's what I read about it. Somebody was making a big deal of it. Uh, yeah, and so then you go so here's the CNCA curriculum. So let's actually open that, right? So here's this PDF, and you're like, oh, yay. And I'm going to get a breakdown of the curriculum like you would expect if you went to a college. If you saw the word curriculum related to college or a school class, right, you'd expect a syllabus with a full outline and what stuff's going to be on a given day and what books to read and stuff like that. No, this is what you get. You get a cloud native computing publication. You get a big, fancy ass web, front and end page. And then you get one tiny little page in the middle. It breaks down what you're supposed to learn. It doesn't tell you what you're supposed to learn. This is the idea behind open credentials, the Occam's system. The Occam system that I kind of been building, it's based a lot on the scouting system, by the way, is where you have delineated, line item requirements for something, like do this, pick one of these, do 10 of these, that kind of thing. Because we need more specificity in the skills, the tasks that need to be done. We need to have the job postings, the bulleted points of job postings, line up with, your list of skills. And when you put down one of your open credentials that you've given yourself, and you had a buddy or a pro or a professional or an organization sign off on and say, oh yeah, I helped assess this person, validate their own self-assessment, and they have all of these things. And by the way, it matches up with the job description. This doesn't have any detail at all. There's no detail at all. So you have to go get the certificate, I guess, if you're going to understand what this actually means, right? Containers, scheduling, 28% orchestration, telemetry. You know what would be better? If you actually broke these all down by their individual items, and then you calculated what a percentage was from the total content by the number of bullets in that section. That would be the better way to do it. And I actually, in the Occam system, I put a weight under each one. So every single requirement that gets listed in a credential is also weighted. It's weighted, and it has a priority, so that when you add it all up, you can decide which thing you go. How can you help with it? We'll talk about it another time. Anytime you see writing on the schedule, so please just watch the schedule. Anytime you see writing or badges on the schedule, let me know. But right now I've been organizing the diagrams for this. So then we have container orchestration, runtime security, networking, service mesh storage. Okay, so we know from having read about it that we don't have to do it, right? This document presents a curriculum outline of the knowledge, skills, and abilities, the CKAs, that a Kubernetes and cloud native associate. I don't know what's up with this and. Kubernetes and cloud native associate. I guess that means that it's not just Kubernetes. Can be expected to demonstrate. Now, how do you demonstrate something on a multiple choice exam? I was on board with the other certificates where you have to do it in a lab within a given time. That's one of the reasons I like them. But you don't demonstrate anything picking one of multiple guess questions. Okay, cloud native application delivery, GitOps, CI/CD, security network mesh, cloud native architecture, fundamentals, auto scaling, serverless. You're going to talk about auto scaling? See, this is just fucking lazy. Okay, I'm sorry to say it this way. I should probably sugarcoat that a little bit more, but you're the cloud native fucking foundation. You're responsible for helping the rest of us know what to learn. Putting all of your effort into a certificate that we have to go just imagine what's in it because the actual description is so sparse. Nobody has any idea what you're talking about. And we can't go to the documentation site because there isn't one that has the content in it. But we can pay $250 for the hope that this is going to cover the content that we need. It just makes me angry because right now I am trying to learn. I've been trying to learn it for 6 months, and I'm a smart guy. And it's only valid for 3 years, and it's a whole certificate gamut. That is not a critique of CNCA or Cloud Native by itself. That is a critique of the certificate ecosystem. You have to pay into it, and it's based on the assumption that some company is going to send you to KubeCon, or they're going to send you here, they're going to send you here to listen to a bunch of conference speakers who don't touch the technology at all anymore. They're just on the tech circuit, running around, pumping up their own star in a Kubernetes world, as opposed to actually doing the work. What we need more of is we need more open credentials, and we need more mentors who are available anytime, not just at some overpriced conference, to be able to help us learn these skills. That's what we actually need. But if they don't want to hear what we need because they're too busy doing all of this other pomp and circumstance. And it drives me crazy. It's always driving me crazy. It's not just cloud native. This is just the certification. This is why I hate conferences. Other than meeting people, which is a good reason to go, it's a waste of time and money. I would never do. I actually went to the training. I paid $2,500 for 1 week of Oracle training, and I made a deal. I made a deal with my manager, Barb, after that. I said, never, ever send me to a training that's that expensive again. It was useless. Half the people didn't even attend the classes, and they got a certificate at the end. I said, I never, ever, ever want to be involved with that ever again. I made a deal with her. I said, look, you give me half of that money, and let me spend it on whatever I want. And I did. I went down to Powell's Books, if you know it, in Oregon and Portland, and I bought an entire wall of O'Reilly books. I pretty much had every freaking O'Reilly book that there was at the time. And back then, O'Reilly was really, really good. They're good still, but and I filled the wall. And I took public transportation, and I read one of those books about every week. I would read through one of those books, and I had the most. And I would come back and I would experiment with all the stuff that I was reading. And now we have the internet for that kind of thing, But so I'm telling you this because I want you to know where I'm coming from when I start attacking a 3-page summary of what's going to be on the CKN in the KCNA, which is suspiciously like the certificate for the other thing. So I don't know what this means. I don't know what to tell you. That's so I guess my opinion is I don't know. That's the better part because I don't know. We don't have enough information yet. Honestly, no one actually knows what will be on it. I would prefer energy dedicated to improving free resources. I mean, there's supposed to be a foundation, right? So the foundation is supposed to have the interests of the users at heart, not the interests of the companies that are members of the foundation, which is just naive. It's naive on my part. I think I probably should stop now. This is not going to get me any friends. You guys, there's so many people. We have people on the board who are in our chat regularly, and I've actually talked with them a couple times, some of them, because one of them anyway, because I feel guilty like slamming it like this, and he's like, oh no, you need to definitely keep doing that, because we need somebody to just not to just be contrarian. That's not people. Sometimes people peg me as a contrarian person. That's not why I'm doing it. I am honestly, sincerely trying to get behind things, and a lot of times I'll discover things as I go, and then that kind of disappoints me, and then I get frustrated because I wanted so much to like it. And in this particular case, I'm not. It's not a really strong opinion. This entire answer has been tainted by the fact that if you look at my schedule, this entire week I have been struggling with just starting up a Kubernetes cluster without using one of the standard solutions. And I had a couple people laugh at me saying, why are you doing that? Nobody does their own Kubernetes anymore. They always use a service. And I'm like, actually, no, my business is still doing it on-prem. And I had to defend the position of wanting to set up your own Kubernetes cluster, which I feel like you should never have to defend. That's the whole point, right? Well, this isn't about promoting one of the 4 or 5 providers out there. That's not what it should be about. And if the foundation is about pumping up a few vendors, then I don't want nothing to do with it, because I want to promote an open world where we can choose to do it on-prem if we want for whatever reason, and we can build our own clouds, and we can create competitors to the big people. And if the Linux Foundation isn't openly promoting that cause, I don't want anything to do with it, because I don't want to be a part of a foundation or promote a foundation that only has the interests of the 1% elite FANG companies at heart. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because it's open. So, okay, enough. But I don't see enough commitment from the Cloud Native Foundation, and maybe I'm just being naive. I mean, it's completely composed of for-profit companies. Why would on earth would I think that they actually cared about nonprofits and other people who might want to build a Kubernetes solution? This is the reason people aren't going to do it, because they think, oh, it's just another way to get lock-in, blah, blah, blah. And I keep talking against those things. I was like, no, it's not just lock-in. Everybody can have it. You can do it. It's not lock-in, blah, 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 blah. But there's a lot of companies that are actively pursuing lock-in, including this shit with Elasticsearch that just went down, which is a company and a product that I really like, but we'll talk about that in another video. So I'm trying to keep my mind open. It is under the Linux Foundation, but of course, I don't know. And I think that some people will benefit from it. I don't think it's worth the $250. If your company's going to pay for it, fine. I think it was a waste, though. I think you should take your whole team out for beer, and you should just learn it off the internet. I really do. And you should play around with it and read about it. And they should spend some time. And if you don't understand it, go ahead and make a diagram of it for yourself. I actually started my own again on my iPad here. And there's other ways to learn it. And the autodidacts out there are going to be like, why do I have to get a C? It's not even the training, right? It's the cert. So it's not even going to tell you where to learn. I think we should spend more time on that. And they're probably selling up. I don't know. So my initial take, I suppose, having gone through this, is that I am hopeful, but I am cynical as usual. And when it comes to certificates, when it comes to multiple guest certificates that have no information about what's going to be on the certificate at all of any relevance, I mean, we have a bunch of random, high, super duper 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 high level stuff. And then I can't prepare for the certificates without paying somebody and else to do it, and then I have to pay every 3 years to get recertified. So that puts a horrible taste in my mouth and makes me not want to support it. So I'm not going to be getting it. It's funny because all the people that I talk to about this, including board members, have never got a single certificate. So they don't know. It's like one of these things where all the people that are giving talks and running the board and everything, none of them have any of the certificates. None of them. So, eat your own dog food, people. If you should at least have look, I'm going to say something that's going to be very, very, very upsetting. Every member of the Cloud Native board should take this exam before you make it public. Anybody who is in the Cloud Native board or is a Cloud Native contributor for the Cloud Native Foundation should actually take and pass these certificates before they're a member, before they give any talk on it. And you're like, well, we don't need that. There's other ways to get the okay, fine. But that's not what you're telling us. You're telling us on the site that we need to get this for all these reasons. It's going to make it easier, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, here you have a kind of a high level certificate. Every single person on the Cloud Native board, in fact, every single one of them should be getting the should be getting the KCNA. And because you're on the Cloud Native board, maybe they waive the cost for you, right? Because you're a rich member of the board who's testing the tool out, right? Instead, we're going to make the poor people all over the world who are trying to get certified, who don't make American dollars, pay $250 to get it. You see the problem here? The people that are telling you to take this certificate don't even have it and have no desire to take the exam. And when you ask them in public or private, they'll tell you, oh, no, you don't need that. Or you do need it. Sort of, it's a scam. It's a scam, and I don't want it to be a scam. I want it to be more. And I know they can make it more, but they don't. They won't. It's the whole certificate thing in general. And unfortunately, this is the whole thing with A+. That's a total horrible certificate, but it's people depend on it in HR to make sure that they can weed out all the people. It's not a problem from their point of view. They keep making money. See, this is the other thing too. I'm starting to realize that the Cloud Native board, and I will never make a certificate company. My belief on this. My value is, if you're going to complain about something, don't get mad, get busy. Get busy making something else. That's what this is right here. The reason I'm creating, I've been for the last 2 years, actually, a number of educators and I have been working on what we're now calling the Open Credential Merit System, OCCMS, which is a way for you, for the community to come up with what should specifically be in the list of things. What are the tasks? What are the abilities? What should you be able to do by name? Like you should be able to do this with metrics, like, and do it in this amount of time and stuff like that. And then make a big old list of that so that you can test yourself. Yeah, but the problem is proctoring, but you don't need proctoring because you just do self-assessment. And this is, we can talk about that another time. The whole idea that you can't trust somebody who has given themselves their own assessment is broken. It's totally broken. And if you look at the art world has been doing this forever. Art world and the writing world, and there's a number of other industries that self-police. If you say you're a writer, then you're going to get immediately like evaluated by everybody else. So it's a trust-based system. We need an open credential merit system that gets rid of the antagonistic relationship between the person doing the assessing and the person who's being assessed. In fact, the first person who should be doing the assessment is the person. The person needs to learn how to do their own assessment as a part of the baseline skills. If you don't know how to assess your own skill set, you can't survive in IT. It's part of being an autodidact. And so we need to, it's part of the whole problem that Paulo Freire talks about in Pedagogy of the Oppressed. It's like we have this idea that we can't teach ourselves and that we have to have somebody else hold the reins of our teaching and make sure that we're going in the right direction and do the learning for us. And God forbid we actually do our own assessment of our own skills. I mean, sure, it's going to be hard because you're close to it, right? But if we have professionals put together a list of the things that you should be able to do within a certain amount of time without help, you can do those things and you can measure your own ability. And if you don't trust yourself, then you can reach out to a friend for free or for money. There's still money in the system because now you have mentors and you have other people out there who are like, what would be great? What would be really great is if these mentors say, hey, look, I did this, here's my credentials, blah, blah, blah. And say, okay, I would love to pay you $50 to kind of go assess my portfolio of things that I've done and give me an evaluation as if you were considering me for a job in this position or to see if I've fulfilled these needs. And the whole Occam system is all the listings could be cut and paste directly into a job posting. So the people that are posting jobs benefit because they can go to a credential, they can copy and paste from those credentials, if not print the credential itself into the job posting and say, look, this is the stuff you need. And this credential on this date had this much stuff in it. They're all version managed. And then what? And then the people getting it can go do it. And the ad hoc company actually does this. They do this. They give you one of like 4 tests. They say, these are the things you're going to have to do to pass. You're going to have to go learn these things. You're going to get like a week to do it. You're going to have to return it. So go study in advance and then come apply. And that's how you do it. So it takes care of the whole hiring process. It helps people know what they need to learn. So there's no ambiguity. It takes the money out of the system, puts money in the hands of the people who are doing the mentoring and the people who are the companies that are facilitating mentoring, that are making it easier for people to be mentored and the collection of the whole system needs to be turned on its head, and this is how you do it. You just make it open. It's no secret that open systems are always better, and so then you don't need proctoring. If you want to make a fancy, like at pain of death, if you look away from the terminal kind of system with an interactive lab to check whether you actually know the stuff in your own credential, fine. But that's not somebody I want to hire. The person I want to hire is the one who has listed an open credential that they've followed by themselves, and they can give yourself whatever level you want, level 2, level 3, or whatever, and then they can go out and they can find 2 or 3 or other people who, with full disclosure, are being paid to assess their skills. And then, by the way, the companies themselves who are trying to evaluate whether to hire you or not, they can say, when you go in for a job, and say, well, what do you have to show for it? I say, well, I completed this credential. I say, well, what's on the credential? What did you do? I say, well, I have all this stuff in my GitHub portfolio. Plus, I did all these things. Here's the credential. You can go look it up. So they can go look it up and they go look at all the items. You did all of this? Yeah. It's the same reason that the Eagle Scout still has value, despite all of the crap that Boy Scouts have been through. The Eagle Scout position still carries weight in America because it is this exact system. It's an open credential system that's being run by volunteers in a system that's been made to facilitate and make best use of the time of the volunteers and the mentors and people happening. But you don't even have to be a volunteer. You could be paid for it to help people get through the system, and then the money be going to other places. It's a better system. It's a better system. We just have to prove it by making it. And I wasn't planning on using this opportunity to push for an alternative system. But every time that we come up with our existing systems of education and assessment, this comes up because we have this antagonistic. There is so much energy wasted in the effort to ensure that we have a trusted, no cheat system, and then it gets cheated all the time anyway. The problem with our system is the zero trust situation going on that's assessing people and their skills. I can't possibly trust you to self-assess. So we're going to put you through this rigorous test that we make. And so then what happens? Everybody starts preparing people to pass the test. They don't actually care whether they can do the job. They teach to the test, and it throws the whole system off. But if you had an open credential that was maintained and managed by the curriculum, yeah. It doesn't matter if they lie, though. If people lie about whether they got the credential, they'll be caught. Because why? Because if you list an open credential on your certificate, on your resume, if you list an open credential on your thing and it's out there, then that means that the people who are hiring you can say, well, you say you got this. How do I know you got it? So they can ask you a simple question. And then the employment's all about trust anyway, right? It's all about trust. So if the person's going to lie to your face and tell you, well, I did this and this and this and didn't do it, and then you hire him and you don't check any of it, then you've already built a relationship on zero trust, like the worst type of zero trust. So we need to start creating methods for establishing trust. We don't want third parties getting in the middle. We want to facilitate the direct connection and the direct creation of trust between potential employer and the person who's getting a job. That's what we want. We want to build that trust. And right now, that's how it is. It's a lot of times they're just shooting in the dark. It's like, well, here's my GitHub profile. How do we even know you did all that stuff in your GitHub profile? Well, you don't. At some point, there's always going to be a level of trust. And so we have to focus on the things that are going to build trust. And I think, just the assessment and the details in the credential itself is already going to help with that, because you can ask detailed questions, and that's how you catch somebody in a lie. That's how you catch them in a lie. It's like, well, how did you get it? Did you get it? What'd you do? Who did? And if that's not enough trust, and you feel like it's not enough as a person applying, you can actually say, I have these 5 people and this organization who have validated this open credential. But now the companies are not making money off the credential. The companies are making money in the open source, the whole ISA Risk 5 conversation all over again, right? Because now you have a ton of companies that are openly invested in an open credential, an open source credential. So all of the education companies and all that, it's the same thing. It's the same thing that would happen to open source. Right? The reason Kubernetes and all this stuff is successful is because why? It's because it's all open source. But then, Canonical and Red Hat and everybody make money, but they contribute because they all trust the system because it's open. So if you had the basis of the whole thing of education open, if you had an open credential system, then you would have, the Pearsons and everybody contributing into an open system, and they make money on it and create, labs and proctored exams and all this other stuff. But they would all be promoting an open system of content that is maintained by the professional community and the foundations out there. That would be better, because then it would be all the same things that happen with open source software would apply to education, into knowledge management, into knowledge skills, into employment. That is how this will work. That is the fix for this. But nobody wants to do it because there's too much money in the system right now. So if we're going to get this to work, we're going to have to prove to all of these organizations that are making money off of a current system of education that they can still make money. But they have to start promoting an open system of credentials so that those people can prepare. We have transparency about what's going to be on the exam. We're not hiding the thing. We're not telling people, oh, you can't share your results of your exam with anybody. You can't tell anybody that's going to be on the test. We got to get all that secrecy and all that stuff that's built on this antagonistic relationship out of the system, because it takes a tremendous amount of energy to do all of that, and it's not helping anyone. It's not. I'm sorry. All right. Well, you didn't want that. I'm sorry. You got it anyway. Open micro degree, whatever you go. Micro degree is a term that relatively recently somebody shared with me. I didn't know it. I would prefer we call it a credential, because we can't quite call it a badge, but that's what it is. There's a lot of this is based on that. This is a system that's been working since 1912 for the Boy Scouts, and it's got many ways that we could adapt it. If you want to be involved, let me know. This was supposed to be about KCNA, but it turned out to be about alternatives to modern education. So I'm going to end the video now. So it's been fun.